Hey, it's Ray. Welcome back to another video. Some of you really enjoyed r/Am I the Jerk, so I thought I would do a longer one this time. If you did not enjoy it, go check out my r/oddly specific video from last week, or check out my next Reddit video in a week or two for some more humorous content. I know the serious stuff isn't for everyone. If you're hearing some background noise, I'm very sorry. It is extremely windy outside. You'll have to just bear with me. Before we get started, make sure you're definitely subscribed to my channel. I need that sweet release of serotonin. If you don't like Stardew Valley, you're wrong. Just kidding. If you don't like Stardew Valley, don't worry about it too much because we won't be discussing it at all, and in the next video, I'll be playing something else. Okay, r/Am I the Jerk? Let's get started. Am I the jerk for kicking my boyfriend's friend out and making him homeless because he wouldn't take off his shoes? I, a 22-year-old female, and my 24-year-old boyfriend decided to let his 24-year-old friend stay here a while because he was homeless living in a tent when we picked him up. The agreement was a few days, but it's turned into a month now. We have a one-bedroom house and I have a 3-year-old stepson. It's already cramped. Things were okay, except for the fact that I am a big clean freak. I just like my house clean. I deep clean every weekend. My dishes are done and the kitchen is cleaned and wiped down after every meal. My biggest thing is the floors being clean because I hate walking around with no socks or shoes and things getting stuck on my feet. I grew up with drug addicts. The house was disgusting. My house being messy gives me anxiety because of this. I'm in therapy. He got a job mowing. Great. He's on the track to get out of here. It's a rule in our house that if you aren't a guest, you take your shoes off at the door. Our 3-year-old takes them off when he walks inside. Close family visiting take them off when they come inside. I've taught my 8-month-old puppy to wipe her feet off on the mat outside. He never has his shoes off. I asked him nicely the first 3 weeks. Since he mows, his shoes are caked in grass. He never cleans up after himself, whether it's the floor or his dishes or his own dirty clothes. When I mention it, he doesn't even get the broom and clean it up. I've swept the entire house every day since he started staying here. Yesterday, he walked inside, stomped all around the hardwood floors. The whole house is hardwood and tile. When I came out of my room and saw this, I raised my voice and said, "Walk outside, take your effing shoes off, pick them up, bring them inside, and put them on the mat. It is not that hard. My 3-year-old and my dog can do it. Why can't you?" He said, "You're going to have to remind me every day because I forget. It's grass. You don't have to be such a jerk." I then told him to get his stuff and get out. He's disrespectful, a slob, and I don't need to remind a grown man to take his shoes off every day. I don't have to remind my 3-year-old or our 8-month-old puppy. He got pissed off, yelled, and threw all his stuff outside. My boyfriend got home and I told him he called me a jerk and he went outside and they were yelling. I just feel bad because now he's homeless. My boyfriend understands and doesn't want him here if he's going to disrespect me while living here and eating our food for free. Honestly, it seems like you put up with him for more than long enough. You said a few days, and he stayed for a few weeks, being messy and disrespectful. It isn't your problem if he's homeless, and even though it was really nice of you and your boyfriend to take him in, it wasn't your problem then either. He overstayed, and you were nice for long enough. Hopefully he'll figure it out. You did as much as you could. Am I the jerk for not making my cousin's wedding cake for free? A bit of backstory, I'm a 26-year-old male, I enjoy baking, and a couple years ago I decided to start doing it as a side job for a bit of extra cash. My cousin, a 32-year-old female, is engaged and asked if I could make her a wedding cake. She told me everything she wants for it, and we made an arrangement to meet for coffee to discuss it further. Between us setting the coffee meeting and the meeting itself, she sent me her registry so I could buy her a present. When we met for coffee, I gave her a quote for the cake. Literally just asking her to pay for the ingredients, etc., so I'd be working for free. She immediately became a bit annoyed and told me that she assumed I wouldn't charge for it. I told her that if I'm expected to buy something from the registry, then she needs to pay for the ingredients. Otherwise, I'll buy a cheaper wedding present as a gesture and not charge for the cake. She became even more annoyed and told me to decide between not charging and buying a present from the registry or coming to the wedding. As a matter of principle, I told her if those are the choices, then I'm not attending. Am I the jerk? I think your cousin is taking advantage whether it's intentional or not. It's too bad that it has to end with you not going to the wedding, but good for you for setting boundaries. Am I the jerk for not agreeing to stop kissing my little sister? I'm a 20-year-old male and I come from a very affectionate home. Both my parents still kiss me when I come home to visit from school for the weekends. or seeing me after a long time, and they kiss my sister, who is 13, before she goes to school every day. We were hanging out at my house yesterday, and my sister was playing video games on the couch. We were about to head out, and as we were leaving, I told her to keep the volume on her game down because she was going to be home by herself and needed to be able to hear. That I had already checked that all the doors were locked and not to open the door for anyone but Mom or Dad. All the same instructions my dad gives her when our parents leave her home during the day. I kissed the top of her head like I always do when I'm leaving, and she just said, "Okay, see you later." When we got in the car, my girlfriend said that she's 13. If she doesn't know how to open the door for a stranger, then I don't know what to tell you, and that kissing her head was over the top. I said that that's how I was raised. Normally it's on the cheek, but gestures wildly around at everything going on. So I kissed the top of her head now. She said she still thought it was weird and that I should stop because it's weird. And I said, well, my sister is not shy and will tell me if she wants me to stop. Until then, shrug. She was pretty annoyed, and when we got to her dorm, she just said she would see me later. I was supposed to come up. It sounds to me like a jealous girlfriend, but if we were to take her comments at face value, she's the one being weird for making it weird. In my opinion, there's nothing wrong with what you're doing, and people who make it a problem have a problem. Am I the jerk for refusing to agree to my grown kids' boundaries? My late wife passed away 3 years ago from cancer. My kids have been very slow to move on and expressed a lot of hostility to the idea of me being with someone other than their mom. I have heard advice that I must demand that they be civil with her. Others have told me that they have kept their relationships with their lady friends discreet to spare their kids' feelings. My kids are currently angry that I moved my girlfriend and her kids into their childhood home. Her remodeling and the removal of my wife's photos led them to say they want nothing to do with her. My son came up with a compromise that I just see them at their homes or at restaurants. My girlfriend is still invested in the idea we can all be a family even after the blow-up over her moving in. I have texted my kids that we are a package deal, but now I'm reconsidering. Your adult children are still grieving the loss of their mom. You are allowed to move on, but if you want to maintain a relationship with them, there needs to be some compromise and some tact. But the way this reads to me, it seems like you're forgetting that they're adults and not kids. You've moved on and that's okay, but they haven't and they shouldn't be forced to. Am I the jerk for snapping and telling my mom she's uninvited to my graduation in a few weeks? I'm a 22-year-old female and I graduate college in a few weeks. My mom has been toxic my entire life and has always had some type of problem with me. Currently, her problem with me is my weight. I'm not morbidly obese, but I could stand to lose a couple pounds. I'm about 6 feet tall and 225 pounds. I've just been too busy and that hasn't been my priority. Today she called me, she's states away, and started going off about my weight and how I'm going to have health problems. She said I photoshopped my scale to say 225 and I'm probably 250. She also said I'm on my way to my 600-pound life. After she said that, I kinda snapped and told her, please do not come to my graduation. I will cancel your hotel tomorrow and please don't come. She hung up the phone on me, but called me a minute later crying, saying I didn't have a mother anymore and she hopes I have a nice graduation because she won't be there. Am I the jerk? I feel really bad that I made her cry, but the fact that all she talked about was my weight and nothing positive about me graduating, I was so tired and I just uninvited her. I am a strong believer in cutting extremely toxic people out of your life. She is guilt-tripping you for setting boundaries by saying you no longer have a mom. Stand your ground. You deserve better. Am I the jerk for not wanting my parents at our wedding? It's a long story, but basically I'm considering not inviting my parents to my wedding. Since the beginning, they have not been supportive of me and my fiance's relationship, especially once I told them about how he's here under his parents' work visa, and the only way he would be able to stay here permanently, other than taking college classes full-time, would be marrying a U.S. citizen. They think he's taking advantage of me, which is a valid concern, but we've been together for over 3 years now and just got engaged last November. The wedding is set for late May of this year. Not only have my parents constantly been telling me that I'll be making the biggest mistake of my life, but when I asked if they would come to my wedding, their immediate response was, well, we're not paying for anything. We'll be there because you're our daughter, but don't expect us to be jumping for joy. Your father and I don't approve of this. My dad especially had the nerve to say, I'll be at your wedding on one condition, that you take a picture of his visa and show me he has a couple more years to stay here legally without needing to get married. It's complete bull. He's not abusive to me, and they keep saying he took their daughter away because I moved into an apartment with him instead of moving back in with them in a completely different state. Tons of guilt tripping, etc. Is it wrong for me to not want any of this negativity at my wedding? Literally everyone else I'm inviting on my side, a couple close friends and my sister and her boyfriend, have been supportive and can be genuinely happy for me, regardless of what they may personally think about my fiancé. Yes, they are my parents, but they have not been supportive of us in the slightest. Not to mention, traditionally, the cost of the wedding is shared between the bride and the groom and their families. My parents don't want any part in helping with it, yet make a huge deal when I say that I don't want them there. On top of paying for an apartment, internet, utilities, a car, food, and car insurance all on my own, half of the wedding costs are falling on me alone. At least my fiancé's parents are pitching in with his side of things. It's stressing me out horribly trying to make this decision. Again, setting boundaries and not putting up with toxic behaviors is important. If they can't be happy for you, they don't need to be there. It's a happy day and a beautiful event, and it sounds like they don't want to be there anyway. Just take care of you. Maybe they'll come around. Am I the jerk for saying I refuse to babysit for my brother? I'm the only daughter and youngest. I'm 27. My oldest brother is 31. We're Asian American immigrants, so a lot of pressure to get married and have children before 30 has been put on me since I was 18. The dynamic between my brother, my mother, and I has not been the most positive. As a female, I've largely been tasked as a caretaker. My older brothers have always been babied and never really pushed to take on extra responsibilities like I have. It's expected that I will take care of the family financially. My brother has had issues with alcoholism and unemployment in the past. Family hasn't taken big measures to intervene, despite my pushing for it, and so he is often left to deal with it on his own. I've reached out in his times of need, and it's not always met positively. In recent years, our interactions have been limited to him usually only texting me and asking if I can ask Mom for money. Luckily, he has a job now. The main issue is he recently found out that his girlfriend is pregnant. My feelings are mixed. In my mind, I don't see my brother as someone very fatherly. He has struggled to take care of himself, and so I am uneasy about him taking care of a baby. My mother is over the moon about the news. She expressed how excited she is for us, meaning my mother and I, to take care of the baby. Immediately, I didn't like the idea and objected, and got into a heated back and forth. I said, I'm not going to take care of my brother's baby because this is going to be his responsibility. He needs to step up now and be a father. He can't dump all his responsibilities on me anymore. I don't want him to expect me to always be a free 24/7 babysitting service where he can dump his child and go back to doing whatever he wants. I'm not going to babysit his kid. I don't have time for that, and I just don't want to. My mom said I was being hurtful and unfair, and that my brother is going to need help now more than ever. She said she doesn't understand why I have to always act like I want to run away from my family. She still fully intends to take care of his baby. The last thing she said to me before I removed myself from the conversation was, at the end of the day, you are all still my children. We are all still family, and you can't run away from your family no matter what. You have to take care of each other, and you need to be a good aunt for your brother. I do kind of feel like I could have approached the subject differently, because now I feel like I could be the jerk for making it seem like I don't want to be involved with the baby. Of course I do, I just don't want to take care of the baby. No, you aren't obligated to take care of anyone who isn't your child, or to continue to bail your brother out. And it's not okay that you're expected to be a caretaker and not have a say in what you can and can't do. You're being manipulated, and it's time for your brother to grow up. Am I the jerk for not introducing my girlfriend to people I was done talking to? The other day I took my daughter and her friend down to the park so we could pick up her uniform for softball season. We got to the park and the girls saw some friends and ran over to play. I joined two of the moms I know and chatted a few minutes while watching the kids. Then I went and found the coach to get the uniform and schedule. I then saw my girlfriend walking towards me and went over to meet her. She then wanted to know why I didn't introduce her to the people I had been talking to, making out that I wasn't introducing her because I was hiding something. The coach then handed me the schedule and uniform, and I collected the kids and went home. Unbeknownst to me is that she had shown up at the park, then sat in her car watching me the whole time, and only approached after I was with the coach. The group of moms were about 40 feet from where the uniforms were being handed out. Am I the jerk for not introducing her to people I was done talking to? Jealous girlfriend. How awkward would that have been to take her over to the moms like that? This is a big red flag. Would I be the jerk if I narc on my son's friend for stealing alcohol? I was at the grocery store today when I witnessed a 15-year-old kid grab a 12-pack of White Claw and make a beeline for the door. I tried to tell the store manager so I could pass on responsibility, but they were super busy and just sighed and shrugged. I'm positive I know the kid because he was a student in my class 2 years ago and he's a friend of my son. I know his parents a little from sitting with them at games when this kid was on my son's sports team, but I don't know them that well. Would I be the jerk if I called them and told them that I saw their kid shoplifting alcohol? Part of me thinks not my monkey, not my circus. However, I also know the kid struggled with drugs in the past, because his parents notified the school last year when they found pictures on his phone of him smoking weed with other kids, including my son. I was grateful at the time to know what my son had been doing, and we've dealt with his choices as a family. Also, the kid clearly saw me and would know if it was me who narked on him. Would I be the jerk if this brought repercussions for my son from his friend group if this kid is angry I told his parents? That's a really tough one. I personally don't have kids, but you said yourself that you were glad to know what your son was up to. Maybe that's your answer? Maybe your son shouldn't be hanging out with him anyway? I'm not really sure, to be honest. I think if it was me, I would probably call the parents. For everyone else listening, let me know what you think in the comments. Am I the jerk for telling my roommate to leave me alone? I am in my 20s, and I recently moved in with 2 roommates. However, none of us knew each other prior to moving in. I am insanely busy and work 50-hour weeks. I have an intense job working as an investigator with the state. I deal with a lot of work, so when I come home, I want to be left alone. I like to make food, unwind, and watch some Netflix. The thing is, my one roommate doesn't leave me alone. Every single time I'm in the kitchen, she follows me in. Her bedroom is near the stairs, so she sees me when I come down. She is constantly trying to talk to me and doesn't get the hint that I'm not interested. She has made me dinner, and then when I refuse it, she gets upset. Even when I'm in the bathroom, she knocks and asks to grab something out of the cabinet. This has happened multiple times. Like, can't you wait until I'm out? I'm an introvert. I like to be left alone. I didn't move in with roommates to have friends or even to talk to anyone. I have my own friends and boyfriend for that. When I come home, I really just like to be left alone. She hasn't gotten my subtle hints that I'm not interested in talking to her. Am I the jerk for telling her to leave me alone and to not speak with me for anything outside of important house items? I mean, a little bit. I think it's reasonable that you want to be left alone. You should be comfortable in your own home, but it sounds like you're being kind of rude to her. You could at least be nice. If you haven't done it yet, just nicely try to tell her how you feel. But if it's too late for that, you're a little bit of a jerk. But do I think you should have been putting up with all of that? Absolutely not. Thank you for joining me for my second Am I the Jerk video. If you think my opinions make me the jerk, let me know in the comments. Tell me what you thought and what stood out the most to you. What are your opinions on what I've read here? What are some of your experiences with scenarios similar to these ones? What do you think about the fact that my S's hiss? What is the meaning to life? If I've become a big part of your entertainment, hit the like button, leave a comment for me, subscribe, eat a slice of cold pizza, drink 10 Mountain Dews, stay up all night. I'll see you next week, and goodbye forever.